The rule of law is quite a difficult to define abstract concept. Possibly one of the most important concepts within the rule of law is that it means that the law applies to everyone equally and fairly, whether government or citizen. The rule of law can also be used to support, more broadly, things like fundamental human rights and the separation of powers. The separation of powers requires that the three arms of government are separate and perform separate functions and don't perform any function of another arm of government. So we've got the legislature, and they're the parliament, and they are the ones that create the law. Then there's the executive, who administers the law, and the judiciary, that makes the judgments on the law. This is supported by the rule of law because it requires the separation, and the separation is what leads to government still being able to be under law, which is a key concept of the rule of law. The rule of law can often be seen as the underpinning factor to the existence of human rights. So you can look to the rule of law as a legitimate reason for human rights, fundamental human rights, for their existence. So the rule of law is often seen as being that pivotal factor under these fundamental rights, such as the right to life, the right to security, and the right to liberty. The rule of law has been used to underpin fundamental documents and organisations internationally that focus on human rights. So the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, in its preamble, notes that the rule of law is one of its foundation points. And also the European Court of Human Rights notes that the rule of law is a key determinant in their process as well. The rule of law, there's often a bit of contention as to what 100% fits within the concept, but it's generally agreed that these following things are vital to the rule of law's operation. So we have fairness, rationality, predictability, consistency, and impartiality. I think that fairness and rationality really show us that the rule of law makes the law apply to everyone, so citizens and the government. Predictability makes me think of certainty in the law and the books, and also certainty in outcome. So if you do break a law, you know what the likely response will be. I think of consistency, meaning that I can trust that the rule of law is being applied to everyone the same. And also, importantly, I think that we know that there's impartiality, so an impartial body that makes a decision on any law issues. The concepts that we associate with the rule of law have really been in existence for centuries. You can trace them back to things like Magna Carta, and they're quite evident in Aristotle's ideas for good governance. The rule of law as a term was coined in 1885 by a professor of English of Oxford, A.V. Dicey. As we've spoken about before, the key concept really in the rule of law is that there's equality. We're all subject to the law. Without it, you could really lead to a government that's above the law. And if government's above the law, this can lead to abuse of power and a state of anarchy. So really, the rule of law is incredibly important to how we live our lives.